Questions?
Grimes practice today, and I guess what happened
He,
with that?
no, he's just got some soreness. He didn't practice day to day. So, being off tomorrow, we'll see where he is after that.
I think he practiced Tuesday, just soreness.
Yeah, just, like this time of the year, like if a player has soreness, you're going to, like you're definitely going to give him time off, and that's what we're doing.
It's not been a few days. What have you seen from this team? Have you been able to glean from these first few days about this team?
Like what you get from it is you get a baseline of where you are, and I think this time of the year there's a lot of energy and excitement going into a season, but it also is a reminder how much work you have to do. So you start at a zero base and you want to build the right habits. So there's a good spirit about the team. We just have to continue on each and every day.
A couple of players talked about that they've been playing together and scrimmaging together for a while. Because of that, does Jalen fit in maybe quicker than?
Yeah, well, I think that's the challenge for our team. In every season, you look at those things because it's how quickly can we all get onto the same page. And so, obviously, with Jalen being new, the more time he's on the floor, with his teammates, the better. Same with Isaiah. And then some guys, like Cam, he didn't have training camp last year. When he got here, he got injured right away. So this has been good for him as well. So, and for everyone, you have to build your chemistry all over again.
Leon Rose, when he did that interview with MSG Network, he was asked about like playing time for young players, and is there any kind of an edict for you to play young guys? And Leon said no edict. But he said, I know that Tom is going to play to win the game. That's what I know about him. That's what he's going to do. I know that's your philosophy, obviously, for this season. Has it ever not been? I mean, is that because some coaches will play a younger guy just.
That would be a Leon question.
No, but it's about you though, because it's your philosophy.
No, and look, you go into the season and you have some thoughts, but nothing's ever final, and so then each day you get more information. Now, some of it is injury, could be foul trouble, could be a lot of things, and it could be performance. Obviously you want it to be merit based. So if someone earns something, they get it, and it's really that simple. And then the one thing that you do know is over the course of the season, you do need everybody. So if initially you're not in the rotation, your responsibility and my responsibility is to make sure that person's ready when his opportunity comes. So we have to make sure that person's engaged, he understands what his job is, and then when he's called upon, he can go out there and execute well. I always say to our players, you can't get here without being a great player. So, but you also can't play 15 guys in every game. And so tough decisions have to be made, and then it's also based not only on how one particular player plays, but it's how he fits into the group and what makes the team function best.
Before last season, it was pretty clear, like you said it, Julius is the engine, he's the All-NBA player. Now RJ's a year older, you guys got Jalen Brunson. What's the totem pole look like?
Yeah, you really do need a team of leaders. It's not just look around at every team, and there aren't any teams that are relying on one guy. So we need to bring the best out of each and every player on the team, and we have to do it together. And that's the important aspect of it. I think you can have individual statistics, and they don't impact winning. So I think to be successful in this league, there has to be a willingness to sacrifice and put the team first. So whatever the team needs, you have to be willing to do that first, ahead of what you think may be best for you individually. And so I think that's a big part of winning in this league.
Coach, you talk about bringing out the best in each player. When you, over the summer, look back at the tape from last season, were you happy with the effort you saw from Julius Randle defensively night in, night out? And if not, was that something you addressed with him?
Well, you know, the interesting thing, I think, when you look at the season, we started off slowly from a defensive aspect in comparison to the year before. But where we ended up was very high. If you looked at several categories, whether field goal percentage, three-point field goal percentage, rebound margin, points in the paint, transition points, defensive rating, whatever metrics that you like, I think they're pretty good in the end. So, you know, I was proud of that fact. And the thing is, in this league, I don't think it's very difficult to guard guys individually. You have to do it collectively. So I think in terms of his team defense, I thought it was very good. But as a team, I think we can do a lot better than we did last year. So that's our goal this year.
Specifically about his effort intensity, you were content, you were happy, you didn't feel like there was a drop-off?
Yeah, I thought, you know, the thing that probably dropped off was the shooting aspect of it, you know, and I think, and sometimes, you know, you also have to have the belief and the understanding that you can play well when you don't shoot well. And so, and that probably held true for a lot of our players last year. When we didn't shoot well, you know, that we allowed that to impact us defensively, and we can't do that. And we have to know that we can win on the nights that we don't shoot the ball great. You know, I thought as the season went along, we started to do that better.
And one other question, well, you mentioned some of the defensive statistics that you just, you know, rattled off, and they were near the top of the league second half of the season. Yesterday, when you talked about the Obi-Randall pairing, and that the numbers didn't look good, they actually had a positive plus-minus net rating per 100 possessions. I wonder if you could give us some insight into the numbers you guys use that you look at.
Well, it's not only the numbers. I actually watch the games, you know. So when you look at the games themselves and then you look at the numbers, the games that were meaningful, and I went game by game. So I watched the games and I looked at the numbers in each game. So, like, if you took out the games that were blowouts, you know, and there were one or two in particular that probably threw those numbers off. But, you know, and again, you can say, and I want to be careful because it was a very small sample size. So, you know, you look at it, what do your eyes tell you in close, meaningful games? When we tried it, what happened, right? And those were very negative. And so that's part of it. But, you know, I'm hopeful that there's improvement and we can do better. So I think there were one or two games where, you know, they were blowouts, so what really wasn't meaningful in those games.
Tom, you said you think the defense could be better overall this year. Do you feel like the roster is better suited?
No, you know, like I said, look, in the end, and you look at it in totality. So you say, okay, in going through the film in the summer, we ended up being a very good defensive team. And so, you know, we have to build, that has to be our foundation right now. And we have guys that are working real hard, but we have to be able to sustain that throughout the course of the year. And, you know, you have to put a lot of work into it. You have to be committed to it.
You have everybody else besides Grimes, everybody else?
You know, we sat Evan today, you know, just more rest, you know, coming off, you know, playing in FIBA and all that. And with the day off, it was a chance to, you know, and we just thought it would be the smart thing to do.
Is he nicked up at all?
A little bit, just a little soreness, but not, you know, he could have practiced. We just thought it was the smarter thing to do right now.
Is there any utility or benefit to having a clear hierarchy on offense? Like a couple years ago, it was Julius, and as Steph said, it was everybody else. Is there a benefit to that? Everybody knowing?
Well, you know, the thing is like, there's different aspects of your team. You want your team to play to its strengths and cover up its weaknesses. So they have to function together and create shots. Your primary scorers have the responsibility of making plays for the team. And so the one thing I do like about Jalen is I think he can control and manage the offense really well. I think that's been one of his strong suits, throughout his career, whether it was high school, college, or the pros. And he can play both with the ball and off the ball. And Derek can do the same thing. So I think that'll be a big benefit. We're hopeful that Derek can be healthy throughout the course of the season. And, we have great depth at that position. Miles McBride is, he's a young guy that has a very bright future. So that's a plus. RJ, again, his playmaking too. I think he's aggressive in getting into the paint, going downhill, and then he's got to make the right rim reads, and I think he will. And then Julius, the same thing.
You mentioned Julius's drop-off shooting last year. Obviously, he took a lot of difficult shots the last couple of years. Is part of the addition of Jalen the hope that when a guy like that set the table that they will sort of naturally set up RJ, Julius, other guys to get?
Yeah, well, I think the more offensive weapons that you have, it makes the game easier for everyone. And then, the other thing too is we got to get him some easy scoring opportunities. And when he had the ball, I think people got used to. He had a lot more attention. Particularly coming off the year that he had the previous 2 years ago, and so teams were locked into him pretty good. So we want him to score a lot of different ways. So not just with the ball, but moving without the ball, running the floor, cutting, and that sort of thing. I think that's one of his strengths is his speed, athleticism. And if we can get him into those positions, I think he can get some easy baskets where he doesn't have to work as hard as he had to work last year. So, and I know with Jalen and Derek that helps a lot. And I think our second unit with Quick, Derek, Obi, that allows us to play fast, and then we'll be able to mix and match with those guys. So that'll be a big plus.
Well, Jalen's obviously played his whole career with Luka. When you guys looked into signing him and giving him that contract, when you saw the playoffs he had when Luka was out, is that the Jalen you guys envisioned playing here? I mean, what do you?
Honestly, I could say I wasn't surprised because, I know Leon wasn't. We watched most of his games just because of, the relationship. Basically, he grew up in our gym because his dad was on the staff. So when you look at what he's done, and the best part of him is his willingness to sacrifice. So I think when he went to Villanova his freshman year, he, sort of played off the ball there. He brought it up, got rid of it, moved without it, and that creates pace and it creates movement and then good decision making. And so I think then he goes to Dallas, he started off in a secondary role and just kept getting better and better. And sometimes I think he can fool you because he doesn't necessarily look the part, but he is the part. And so his mind is spectacular, the way he sees the game, and that's a big plus for us.
So do you think what he did from December on and then the playoffs, that's what he is compared to what he was maybe his first few years ago?
Well, no, because if you look back at it, he had games throughout his time in Dallas where when people were out, he played at it because the thing that I like about whatever the game needs, he can provide. So if they need more scoring, he can do that. If they need more passing, he can do that. So his all-around play, he can play multiple positions. He's an excellent team defender. So there are a lot of pluses to that as well.
What about Rick? What does Rick bring to the group? What has he brought to the group so far so early? And how do you envision helping you guys? Rick, personally.
Well, I hope he brings as much as Jalen. No, just the fact that he played here. He's coached a long time. He understands what it takes to be successful here. He was part of some big teams in New York. He did a great job as a high school coach. So, and the fact that he played the point guard position, I think those are all pluses. He's a teacher. He's, a motivator. I think he understands the NBA. He's always been a student of the game. Rick played for a great high school coach. He played for a great, phenomenal Hall of Fame college coach. He played for great coaches in the NBA. And all that experience, I think, has benefited not only Rick, but Jalen as well. So, and his willingness to share that knowledge with all our guys, I think, is a big plus.
When you said Jalen doesn't look the part, you said just because he's not jumping out of the gym and not a big guy, is that what you mean?
Yeah, well, like the thing is sometimes you just think, okay, why, and sometimes, and I look at some players that, either went undrafted or were drafted at the end of the first round or the beginning of the second round, and then they become all NBA, and, and you say, and you look at it, and sometimes you say, and, no one's perfect. We all, say, I didn't see that. I know when we drafted Jimmy Butler, none of us thought he was going to be all NBA. We thought he was a good player. We thought, okay, he'll be in the rotation. Right? We didn't think he'd become who he is. Draymond Green, and I'm not saying that, but there are so many guys like that. So you're trying to project what a guy can become, and it's not an easy thing to do. But when you look back, you say, okay, super smart, super competitive, great work ethic, and all he has done is, he's won at every level. And, I think that's special. I think that's one of the things when you look at Derrick Rose and if you really studied his high school career, it was phenomenal. And there were games that Derrick scored 6 points and, they won a state championship. Then he goes to Memphis and, he's in the championship game. He's done it all. But it's the unselfishness, it's how smart they are, all those things combined. But it's also the drive.
Is there an NBA comp you like for Jalen?
No, I never. The thing is, I never do, because I think each player is unique and different, and and it's always hard to say, oh, who is this guy? Because until he's done playing, then you don't really know who he is. And so, but the one thing that I do like about him a lot is I do believe he'll continue to get better because of the way he approaches things. He's never satisfied. It's always what's next. He studies. He works like crazy. He's a great teammate. And to me, that's the best leadership you can have. When you come in every day and you see a guy that just has so much determination and he's so dedicated to the game, that's special.